We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Kathopanishad, the first chapter, the third section, the ninth mantra. We have finished the first two sections of the first chapter. There are two chapters in Kathopanishad. Each of these chapters have got three sections, totally six sections. So we have covered about 119 verses are there. The first chapter has 71 verses. The second chapter is a relatively shorter chapter with 48 verses. What is Kathopanishad teaching? It is teaching exactly the same as what is being taught in other Upanishads. The subject matter is exactly the same what you have studied in Kaivalya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. We have finished four Upanishads. This is the fifth Upanishad we are doing. And then some of you are attending the sixth Upanishad, which is Mandukya Upanishad. In all these Upanishads, the central theme is who am I? What is my nature? Is my nature this body? Is my nature the emotions which I experience? Is my nature the doer and enjoyer, karta, bhokta, enjoyer of the world of objects, and doer of actions? We have no answer to these questions unless and until we study Upanishad. So, the study of Upanishad brings us closer to our nature. There is no other teacher who can be better than Yamadharmaraja on this subject matter. Yamadharmaraja is the teacher, the Lord of Death. He is the teacher of Brahma Vidya in Kathopanishad. And the student is an 8-year-old boy, and Lord of Death. Is there anything different than cause and effect? Very important point in the question which he has asked. Is there anything beyond the past and the future? That means he wants to know what is there right now. He's asking the question is, indirect question is, what is the truth now? Is there anything beyond the past and future means? What is the truth? Is truth timelessness? Time is a mystery for all of us. But Upanishad answers the question of time. Cause and effect is an orientation of the intellect. Our intellect always wants to know what is the cause, what is the effect. What is the effect, what is the cause for it. This is our orientation. Throughout in our school, college, and in our day-to-day life, we are living with this cause-effect idea in our mind. It is only when you come to the Upanishad, like Kathopanishad, and where the teacher says there is something which is beyond cause and effect. What is that is called as Atma. It is the same Atma which is called as Turiyam in Mandukya Upanishad. And we are studying that Turiyam Atma in Mandukya Upanishad in our Sunday classes. Same, it is exactly the same. Where you reach the destination of Mandukya, the destination of Kathopanishad is the same Atma. So, in our quest for the truth, we study this Upanishad, and as we study, we discover the nature of Atma, which is beyond cause and effect. In the third section of the first chapter, consisting of 17 verses, the central theme of the third section is the chariot example, Ratha Kalpana. What is the journey of a jeev in this world? How should he conduct his life? That is being explained in this third section. Very important section. It has got a lot of practical benefits. Many people ask, how do you make Vedanta practical? How can I use the knowledge of Vedanta in my day-to-day life? This Ratha Kalpana is extremely popular even amongst corporate trainers. They use this example. Normally speaking, we don't have control over our body or senses or the mind. But this verse teaches us this concept of chariot. The Ratha Kalpana teaches us how I can control this body mind complex. So last week, wherever we stopped, I will go into the same slide. This is the slide where we stopped. We finished the 8th mantra. Today we are going to study the 9th mantra onwards. There are 17 mantras in this section. Let me play the verse from Vijaya on this 9th mantra.
विज्ञानसारथिर्यस्तु विज्ञानसारथिर्यस्तु मनः प्रग्रहवान्नरः मनः प्रग्रहवान्नरः सोऽध्वनः पारमाप्नोति सोऽध्वनः पारमाप्नोति तद्विष्णोः परमं पदम् तद्विष्णोः परमं पदम्.
So here, the Upanishad says, the one who is able to control the reins of the horses. First of all, we have to control the reins, the horses. The horses are running on the road. So first, the horses, if they have to go to the right destination, we have to control the horses. How are the horses controlled? Through the reins, the string which holds the horses. The string which holds the horses is the mind. So through the mind, we control directly the horses. Then what controls the mind? It is the intellect which controls the mind. So if the who is the charioteer? The charioteer is the jiva. The jiva wants to reach the destination of moksha. He wants to know what is my final journey in this life. So here, beautifully, it says, when you travel on this path, on this chariot, you will reach Vishnu Pada. What is Vishnu Pada? Vishnu Pada means it is the abode of the Lord Vishnu. What is the abode? What is the place of residence of Lord Vishnu? It is the Atman. In each one of us, there is an Atma. That is the place where we will reach. Very beautiful. You see how so many verses are there conveying the chariot example, and our own journey in this life. Vijnana Sarati. Vijnana Sarati means an intellectual person who is the driver. The driver is in the form of the intellect. He wants the jiva who wants to reach the goal. He should know where I should go. Then only he can drive the reins and the horses to the destination. Suppose we have to turn right, he must know that I have to turn right. Suppose I have finished Karma Yoga, I must know I have to go to Upasana Yoga. If I finished Upasana Yoga, then I should know I must go to Jnana Yoga. Once I have done Shravanam, I should do Mananam. After doing Mananam, I should do Nididhyasana. These are all the knowledge which a seeker will get if his intellect is able to understand the Upanishads. Mana pragrahavan means the mind uh, which controls the chariot must be driven by an intellectual and knowledgeable intellect. Pragraha means reins, the rope by which you control the horses. Naraha means seeker who has tamed the sense organs. In Tattva Bodha, we have studied Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. So the one who has tamed his sense organs is called as Damaha. The one who has tamed his mind is called as Samaha. Then we have Shraddha, then we have Samadhanam, and so on. So ultimately, from our lower nature, which is the body, mind, finite entity, we have to go to the infinite. Infinite means it is all pervading Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is just an example. You call it Vishnu, you call it Shiva, you call it Devi, you call it Jesus, you call it Allah, you can call it, but it's the same concept. So from the form, we have to reach the formless Swarupa, the nature. That nature will be described in the 15th mantra of this third section. So our lower nature is this body, mind, and it is very attractive. It is sagunam. Sagunam means it is with us. I can talk, I can sing, I can run, I can lift, I can, enjoy so many things. So finally, how do I reach this Vishnu Padam? Upanishad says you have to drop the notion that I am a jiva who has to travel. This is how the Upanishad reveals the truth. For example, how does the dreamer reach the waker? The waker gets the knowledge that I am not the dreamer. Instantaneously, he drops the dream world. Similarly, by the study of Upanishad, I have to understand I am not the maker. That is why in Mandukya Upanishad last week, in the last session, I covered the seventh mantra, which says, I am not the waker, I am not the dreamer, I am not the sleeper. But who am I? That I is self-revealing. Swata Siddhaha, Swata Prakashaha. So waking up by knowledge of the Shastra that this is my nature and dropping the notion I am a jiva is the only method to cross this ocean of samsara, the ocean of repeated birth and death, taking up new bodies. This is the only way. Sarvam Viveshti iti Vishnu. that which pervades everything. See, many times when we describe this Atma, we say Atma is all pervading. The best example to know what do you mean by all pervading is in Shastra, they give two examples. One is the light of the sun. The light of the sun is all pervading. Throughout the cosmos, you can find the sunlight. Similarly, this Atma, which is the witness consciousness, the awareness principle, is all pervading. That is one example, the light example. Similarly, there is another example which is given is space. Space is one of the elements, Panchabhutas, but it is all pervading. You can have water in this room, you may not have water in the next room. You may have air in this room, you may not have air in the other room, but space you will have everywhere. So Atma is everywhere and it is changeless. It is there all the time. Whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm dreaming, whether I am awake, whether I'm with the body, suppose I drop the body, I'm still Atma, the Atma still continues. In Atma, there is no universe. Universe comes and goes whenever there is a mind which is waking up and sleeping. So the Jiva's mind is the cause of experience of the world. So intermediary step is this Vishnu. This is Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva, but ultimately that Lord is within me. It is Ekaha, it is Arupaha. Ekaha means it is non-dual. There is no second Atma. There is no second consciousness. Awareness is only one. So this Ratha Kalpana imagery talks about 5 disciplines of healthy body, healthy sense organs, healthy mind, healthy intellect, and a team effort of all these instruments of experiences. I must have control. Arja means harmony. My body should be healthy. My sense organs should be having control over themselves. My mind should be able to decide what is good and what is not good for me. If I don't have teamwork, then I cannot reach the final destination. So in our spiritual study also, this is very important. Our mind may say, I must attend the class today, but your sense organs will say, no, I must go and see a movie today. So where should I go? Your intellect has to have the discrimination and say that this class will be useful to me because I will be in the journey of my spiritual path, where I am going towards my nature. So this is what is called as Arjavam. Very important word. This diagram explains to you this entire chariot example. On the extreme right, you see the world of sense objects, which is the universe. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, the 5 roads. These 5 roads are traveled by the sense organs, which are the 5 horses. Intellect is the driver behind the mind, who says you turn right, turn left, you don't go there, you go here. The jiva is the reflection of consciousness. Together with all these sense organs, mind and intellect and all that. So reflected consciousness is the basic nature of the jiva. Awareness principle. But this awareness reflection is limited. This limited consciousness, limited awareness, jiva, which is limited only to this body, has to understand I am not that awareness which is limited to this body alone. I am the all pervading awareness, which is the Paramatma. So, Jivatma has to recognize Paramatma as his real nature. Paramatma, if he discovers, he will know that he is timeless principle. He is the Turiya Chaitanya, which is beyond cause and effect. In Mandukya, cause is the third pada. Sushupti avastha, karana sharira. This first and second pada are the waking and dream, which is the karya pada. What is Turiyam? Turiyam is karana karya vilakshanaha. Vilakshanaha means transcending this karanam and karyam. Whatever you are able to understand as your nature, that is the truth. So, beautiful example, the chariot example explained very well in this chart. Try to study this chart. If you have questions, you can ask at the end of the talk. I will answer that. Okay, the next verse.
इन्द्रियेभ्यः पराह्यर्था इन्द्रियेभ्यः पराह्यर्ता अर्थेभ्यश्च परं मनः अर्थेभ्यश्च परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः बुद्धेरात्मा महान् परः बुद्धेरात्मा महान् परः.
This verse is the source for the third chapter, 42nd verse of Bhagavad Gita. You can see the direct meaning of both this and see that it is bodily lifted from Kathopanishad. See, in Kathopanishad, when you study Kathopanishad, you will come across many verses of Bhagavad Gita which are taken up almost straight. Najayate Mriyate Va, the 20th verse of the second chapter, is also there in this Kathopanishad. Uttishtatha, which we will study soon, that is also there in Bhagavad Gita. Indriya. So here, what is in the 10th verse and the 11th verse, the spiritual journey, details of the spiritual journey is being given. So Atma Jnanam starts here. In Kathopanishad, the Jnanam portion, the Jnana Yoga portion starts in this verse. The spiritual journey is Antarmukaha. Antarmukaha means it is introvert. It is looking inside. The travel is inside travel. From the sense organs, from the world, you have to drop the world, drop the sense organs, drop your mind, drop your intellect, and then find out who you are. Panchakoshas, which we have done in Taittiriya Upanishad. Here, Lord of Death says that the sense objects are inferior compared to the senses. Sense objects are gross, the sense indriyams, the power by which you see, you experience the sense of objects is, that power is higher, it is more subtler than the sense objects. But beyond the mind, the intellect, the faculty by which you discriminate the right and the wrong, the good and the bad, the ephemeral and permanent, that is the job of the intellect. And beyond the intellect is this Atma. So you can see the ladder: sense objects, sense organs, mind, intellect, You have to drop this, drop the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, and then ask the question, who am I? So in this verse, 42nd verse, Indriyani paranyahu, Indrebhya param manaha, manasastu para buddhyai, buddhe paratastu saha. So inferior is Indriyas compared to the sense objects. Compared to the sense objects, mind is superior. Compared to the mind, intellect is superior. Compared to the intellect, the total intellect, which is Ishvara, which is the mind of Hiranyagarbha, which is Paramatma. So this is why this is given is because we have to go inward. The journey is inward. Vishnu means all pervading consciousness. You see, there are two versions of Lord. One is Sagunam, another is Nirgunam. Here we should understand that you can take it as Sagunam or you can take it as Nirgunam. But if you want to reach, if you want to get moksha, you must go to Nirguna Ishwar. So in our mind, there is a Bimba Chaitanyam. Bimba means reflected consciousness. That reflected consciousness is of the same nature as the original consciousness. The original consciousness is Paramatma. So there are two consciousness in our mind. When I look at myself, see, this is how we understand these verses. So when I look at myself, suppose I have dropped all this, then you will reach what is called as reflected consciousness first, which is called as Chaya, which is called as the ego. One behind the ego is this reflected consciousness. Ego is nothing but the mind intellect instrument. So it is through this reflected consciousness, we have to go to the original consciousness, which is pure consciousness, which is without a mind, which is without a body, which is without the universe, which is what we call it as Turiya Atma. In Turiyam, there is no body, mind, senses, or the universe. This is what Lord Yama wants to teach Nachiketa. So it's an intellectual study or intellectual journey of understanding only. There is no other, you don't have to sit in samadhi and wait for moksha. Moksha is your nature. Nature means you are always Atma. Wrongly, I've been thinking I am a Jiva because my body is acting, body is enjoying. Instead of saying my body is enjoying, my body is acting, karma belongs to the body, bhokta belongs to the body. I am not that, I am the consciousness behind the body. So, Upanishad takes us gradually, step by step, from Saguna Jagat to Nirguna Chaitanya. Very important point. To understand this Kathopanishad, you must understand what is the difference between matter and consciousness. Whatever we experience in our life is matter. The consciousness is the experiencer subject, which is always me. It is always I. So if you want to know yourself, you just tell yourself, I am the consciousness. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Atma. And this is a direct knowledge. It is not, you don't have to wait for anything. This is how Kathopanishad wants you to understand the nature of Atma. So from Saguna world, you have to come to Nirguna Chaitanya. From Saguna Anatma to come to Nirguna Atma. From Saguna Deha, Saguna means with attributes. Nirguna means without attributes. That Dehi, from the body which is Sagunam, which has got the Rajo, Tamo Guna and Sattva Guna, we have to reach the Atma which is Nirguna. This method is called as Panchakosha Viveka. We have seen this in detail in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Here I'm just summarizing the Taittiriya Upanishad so that you can get an idea as to how the intellect, the mind, the sense organs, the sense objects have to be viewed in this world. I am the Atma. That is the ultimate destination. Annamaya Kosha is the gross physical. This gross physical body is changed like our dress. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinhati naroparani तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. Like I remove my shirt and put on a new shirt, similarly, I remove my body. I means what? The reflected consciousness, which is permanent, which is always there. It is carrying with it the mind, the sense organs, which are subtle in nature. Body after body, it keeps on taking. So, Annamaya Kosha is not me. The Pranamaya Kosha is the energy in this body. As soon as I wake up, I feel very energetic. Towards the night, I feel very tired. So, this energy level keeps on going up and down. That means it is provided by the Prana Shakti. Suppose you do pranayama in the morning, those of you who are practicing yoga, you will find that the energy level remains the same throughout the day. Why? Because you have been able to control the prana in you. Manomaya kosha is the emotional personality. Suddenly, my emotions will take me for a ride. I will suddenly start thinking about some problem in my life. We want everybody else to ask us, how are you? How are you? How are you today? And so on. That is an emotional weakness. When you consider Atma Vidya, when you are in the Vyavahara world, it's very normal. But when you become a student of a seeker of Atma, you should rise beyond the emotions. As soon as emotions rise in your mind, you should be alert. You should be able to notice the emotions rising in you and take stock. Immediately, when you become alert to your emotions, you become aware and emotions slowly will die away. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the intellectual personality. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the doer, enjoyer in me. Whole day I'm a karta and bhokta. But if I want to reach Atma, I have to drop this karta, bhokta personality. This karta bhokta is also an obstacle for the knowledge of Atma. The last kosha in Taittiriya Upanishad is Anandamaya kosha, is the sleep state personality. The sleep state personality of mind is full of ignorance. Ajnana. I don't know myself, I don't know I am a waker. I don't know I am in this world. I'm sleeping very comfortably in my room. I don't know any of this. That is what we call it as the sleeper. I don't know my real nature also. Mula Vidya. But Chaitanyam is there. Consciousness, awareness is there in the sleep state, which is my nature. How do you know it is there? Every day in the morning when I get up, I say, "Oh, I slept well." How do I know that I had a good sleep? How do I know this? It is because of the Atma in you. Atma is the permanent, unchangeable nature of mind. So, Dehebhyaha Indriya means the physical body, the gross body is inferior compared to the Indriyas. The sense organs are the one which drag the body. For example, the eyes want to go to the movie hall. The ears wants to study the class. The tongue wants to go and taste some nice food. But all these indriyas are controlled by the manaha. So mind is controlling the indriyas. The sense organ, the sense objects outside are being controlled by the indriyas. This is very beautifully explained in the ladder of fall, which is a very beautiful section from 55th verse to the end of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते. So this explains to us how we fall in this world. The starting point is that my mind starts thinking of the objects in the world. Attachment to the objects starts rising in my mind. At the level of my desire, if I can control it, I can then drop the attachment to the world. How do I drop the desire? Only by through my intellectual knowledge of right and wrong, Nityam and Anityam, I can understand and control my mind. So when I control my mind, I can control the sense organs. When I control my sense organs, I can reach the destination. That is the essence behind all this portion of the Kathopanishad. Arthebhya param manaha, that's what I was trying to tell you, that the mind is superior to the sense organs, the sense objects. And buddhi is more superior. So whenever we talk about superiority in Veda, we must understand the superiority is with reference to the subtlety. So intellect is much more subtler than the mind, and mind is much more subtle than the indriyas, and indriyas are subtler than the sense objects. Buddhehe para mahanatma. Mahanatma means there is a total mind which is there, which controls this whole universe. Suppose you take my mind, emotions rising, thoughts rising as a wave. The wave cannot exist without the ocean. Ocean is the substratum of every wave. The ocean is represented by the total intellect, the total samashti sukshma shariram, which is called as Hiranyagarbha. That Hiranyagarbha pervades all the intellect. That means it is controller of your intellect, my intellect. There is a power in this world. We don't know unless you come to Vedanta. You are not aware of this power, the total power which exists in the world. So self knowledge requires the depth of the mind to understand the core of the personality. It requires the width of the mind, the vision, the broad vision, which we get from chapter 11 and 10 of Bhagavad Gita, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. We have to travel from our micro mind to this macro universe. And then we can destroy the Ajnanam, which is the Asura, which is the Rakshasa, which is the Samsara Rakshasa. Asura means what? My mind only. My mind is only limited. But this mind has to drop its limitation and see the limitless Atma. In the totality, what happens is these limitations get removed. When I start looking at the total, what is there beyond all this visible universe, the experiencer consciousness is ultimately everything in the universe. Because it is the subject of the individual body, it is the subject of the entire cosmos. Let's go to the 11th verse.
महतः परमव्यक्तम् महतः परमव्यक्तम् अव्यक्तात् पुरुषः परः अव्यक्तात् पुरुषः परः पुरुषान्न परं किञ्चित् पुरुषान्न परं किञ्चित् सा काष्ठा सा परागतिः सा काष्ठा सा परागतिः.
Now, Lord Yamaraja wants to go to the understanding of the universe. See, at the individual, when we study Kathoboda, we study three sharirams. The Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karak Shariram. And at the totality level, there is Sthula Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha, and Karana Prapancha. Now, here in this 11th verse, in the 10th verse, it is talking about the individual, Vyashti Sharira. In the 11th verse, he is talking about the Samashti Prapancha. When you look at the totality, here he says the total intellect, which we studied as Hiranyagarbha principle, which is Abhyaktam. Abhyaktam means I cannot see it. It is unmanifest. So this subtle mind at the totality level, it is subtler than that is the Karanavastha, in which the knowledge gets resolved. All knowledges, they get resolved in this Karanavastha. So the Karana Avastha, in Avastha means state of the mind. In that state, both the mind and the Prapancha, they get resolved. So the seed condition of the individual is the prajna. It is the, at the individual level, we call it prajna. Prajna means Mandukya Upanishad, seed state of the individual. At the samashti level, it is called as antaryami or Ishvara or Karana Prapancha. So this is just a revision of our Tattvabodha, where we are studying that my personality in the sleep state, it is not a blankness, it is not Anandamaya Kosha, it is the Jagat Bijam. It is the seed condition. It is there. It is called as potential condition. This is the third pada of Mandukya Upanishad. But the fourth pada is the Purusha. Turiyatma. The consciousness principle, which is witnessing the blank state, is the ultimate jiva. In that, jiva loses the jivatvam and he becomes Paramatma or Brahman. Once a seeker is able to do this discrimination of the sleep state and understand the seed state is the sleep state. That seed state also witnessed by consciousness, because the nature of consciousness is it is always aware. That nature of consciousness never gets lost. That is why we call it Nirvikara Swarupa Atma. It is ever changes. So what is it witnessing? There is no world, but I am there. Understand this word, this sentence very well, because this is the final realization. I exist without experience of the world. When I can say this very comfortably, I am called as Jivan Muktaha. This is the teaching of Lord Yamadharmaraja to Nachiketa. Nachiketa, you wanted to know, is there anything in this world when somebody leaves? Is there anything? This is what is always there. If you can know this eternal truth, you have got moksha, because that itself is moksha. Knowledge itself is moksha. Very beautiful
महत
example of how we should reach our core of the personality. See, the blankness which we all experience in our sleep state, it is not a void state of nothingness, but it is Atma shining by itself. From that Atma only this entire Jiva wakes up. So from the sleep state to the Atma state, the waking up is called as Uttishtaha. Wake up, wake up. Not to the waking world, not to the waking state, but wake up to your real nature of Turiya Atma, pure consciousness, Shuddha Atma, which has got no ajnanam, no ignorance at all about its nature, because it is there. And what is the ignorance? What is the ignorance today? I don't know the nature. Through this Upanishad, I understand that is my real nature. That is what is called as moksha. From that, only the jiva is arising every day. In our sleep state, we are with Ishvara. I keep repeating this all the time. Don't, don't take it as not a fact. It is a fact coming from the Upanishad. I am with my real self in my sleep state. That is called as my real nature. It is not the Ajnanam state, but through the Jnanam, you drop the sleep state and you reach your pure Shuddha Atma state. In science, space is a substance that makes things to arrive. Blankness comes during Sushupti and goes during Swapna and Jagra. But what science doesn't know is this nature of consciousness. There is a consciousness which is aware of that blankness. Science can never know this. If I can know this, then what happens to me? I am a witness to all my thoughts, all my emotions, because mind is aware by consciousness. It is the same consciousness which tells me there is no mind in sleep. So I have to turn attention to the consciousness which is inherent in our body mind complex. The moment I turn attention, I acknowledge, claim that as my Swarupa. For example, if you are if you want to say that is this room is empty, there is nobody in the room. How do you say that? Unless until you are present, you, the consciousness, is present, seeing that there is nobody in the room, then only you can say. Similarly, in the sleep state, unless you are there as consciousness, you cannot say that I didn't experience anything. You were there to say I didn't experience. So instead of turning the attention to blankness in sleep or ignorance in sleep, we have to turn and own up the consciousness which is aware of the blankness. So I am consciousness which is the witness of silence, which is a witness of the thoughtless mind, the blank mind. So samadhi is also not the ultimate state. Yoga philosophy says samadhi is the ultimate state. But when you come to Vedanta, you say, I am a witness of that samadhi state also. You never lose your witness nature. So thoughts arrive, thoughts depart. If you are consciousness, then you are aware of all your thoughts. Purusha has got two derivations in Sanskrit. Purishayanat iti Purushaha, the indweller or the resident, the tenant of this body is the Purusha. Puraya sarvam iti Purushaha, all pervading consciousness which illumines this matter is matter panchabhutas, five elements. Five elements by themselves. Suppose you look outside your window and you see lovely trees, lovely buildings, and you can see the whole nature. But who is observing this nature? It is not the matter principle, which is the which is what our eyes can see, but it is consciousness which is observing the world. And that consciousness is all pervading. All pervading means it is always there and it is everywhere there. So the ultimate destination is cross over the panchakoshas and drop the abhimana, the identification. I am one of these panchakoshas. I am not the Anandamaya, I am not the sleeper, I am not the waker, I am not the dreamer. Deha, the body, is only a small drop in the ocean of matter. See, you can see Panchabhutas control is there in all over the universe. My body is only a small infinitesimal part of this whole ocean of matter. But in this body, I have got a prana which gives me hunger and thirst. In this body, there is a mind which has got thoughts, passions. In this body, there is a vijnanam, there is an intellect. However small it may be, you can even imagine my body is at least 6 feet tall. Your body, you can see the body of an insect or an ant. Even the ant has got an intellect. It has got a mind. It has got a prana. It is breathing. It is moving. It is ant is moving because of prana shakti. So even in an ant, you will find prana shakti. You will find buddhi. The ant will go where there is sugar. It can detect. That means it has got the intellect to understand. I should go here to find my food. But who is behind that? And body is also consciousness. This witness consciousness is all pervading. What is the difference? The containers are different. Ant body is a small one. Human body is a slightly bigger one. Elephant body is huge. But consciousness is also there. Okay, so this is how we do Panchakosha Viveka to understand our real nature as Atma. This next verse is a very beautiful verse.
येष सर्वेषु भूतेषु एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु गूढोत्मानः प्रकाशते गूढोत्मानः प्रकाशते दृश्यते त्वग्र्यया बुद्ध्या दृश्यते त्वग्र्यया बुद्ध्या सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः.
Shankaracharya quotes this verse many times in his commentary of Upanishads. There are two main points in this. The first is, where should I search for this Atma is mentioned here. And that is, inside the body, the Atma resides. And it is Swayam Prakasha. It is illumined by itself. It doesn't require any other illuminator. And who will understand this Atma? Who will have this self-realization? The one who has got a sharp intellect. Sukshmaya Sukshma Darshivihi. The one who has got, that is why the study of Upanishad makes my intellect very, very sharp. The intellect gets a new power because of Viveka Shakti, which comes out of the study of Upanishads. So, Panchakoshas, Viveka, what are the conditions I should have that is mentioned in this verse? The mind should be extremely sensitive. Sensitive means you should be able to recognize the nature of Atma, which is self-awareness, and drop the thoughts. Eshaha Atma Sarvabhuteshu Vartate. Consciousness, which is the Atma, it is present in every body. Gudaha na prakashate. Hidden amongst this anatma body mind, there is the Atma, which is Swayam Prakasha. So I have to drop my attention from the thoughts in meditation. Remember this. Don't try to objectify Atma. When you see your thoughts, you say, I am the witness of the thoughts. Again, a new wave of thoughts will come. Again, you tell yourself, I am a witness of the thoughts. Suppose you practice this meditation for a few days. You will understand the nature of consciousness. Very simple meditation. All of you can do it. It can be practiced for just 5 minutes a day. Only 5 minutes. Watch your mind. And then ask, who was watching the mind? That Atma, which watches the mind, real nature. An Atma has got two conditions. The world matter, Prakriti, has got two conditions, which we don't understand till we come to Vedanta. The first condition is the manifest condition, which we all are aware. Oh, this is the world. There is a second condition, which is called as Prakriti. Vyakta Prakriti, Abhyakta Prakriti. Vyakta Prakriti means manifest. Abhyakta means what we experience in our sleep state. We understand in the sleep state, the whole universe becomes undifferentiated. That undifferentiated universe, the seed condition, is witnessed by the consciousness. That consciousness is also unmanifest. My sense organs cannot know it. My mind cannot know it. It cannot think about Atma. But how do I know that Atma exists? It is Nityaha. It is given to me by Upanishad. Upanishad Pramanam is a Paurusheya Pramanam. It is not from a human intellect. These words of the Kathopanishad are written. Some Rishi has heard this in his meditation and he has put this in the form of mantras. So there is no distance to be traveled between the Jivatma to reach Paramatma. Paramatma is very much there in the mind of all of us. Only I have to drop the Pancha Koshas and then whatever it is, I claim that leftover portion as the Paramatma or the pure consciousness. That consciousness, I own it, and then I say, Aham Chaitanyam Asmi, Aham Brahma Asmi, Aham Turyam Asmi, Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham. This is what is said uh, in the shlokas, uh, where we identify ourselves with this Atma. Name Dvesha Raghav, Name Loba Mohav, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. Beautiful verses which we have seen in Nirvana Shatkam. This is the third verse of the Nirvana Shatkam. All the verses of Nirvana Shatkam are directly leading you to Atma. I have covered Nirvana Shatkam in my sessions, in my classes I've taken, and all this there. I think there are some videos available in my class folder. If you're interested, you can just go through the website. You will be able to see. Drishyate agraya buddhaya sukshma darshabihi. The thoughts are rise and they set in consciousness. Thoughts are anitya. They are not eternal. What is nityaha? Nitya is the avering consciousness. Very simple to understand Vedanta. The moment I am observer of my thoughts, 50% of your job of learning Vedanta is over. Because there is nothing else in the world which is the seer of your thoughts. So, mind is witnessed by consciousness. World is witnessed by what? By the indriyas, by the sense organs. Sense organs are witnessed by whom? By the mind. Mind is witnessed by art. So we need to take the laser beam of our intellect for correcting our notion that I am not the Jivatma, I am the pure consciousness. Then what happens? All my questions are dropped. One shot. Immediately, the moment you realize your nature, this nature never changes. And this is the job of Upanishads. Scriptures, they tell us mind can't know Atma, but at the same time, Upanishad says Buddhi alone can know Atma. Keno Upanishad, in Manasa na manute, Taittiriya Upanishad, yato vacho nivartante. But here it says it is Sukshma Buddhi alone with the help of scriptures. When you understand this, when you understand the Atma, it is the mind aided by scriptures can understand Atma. When the mind, when the Upanishad says mind cannot know Atma, it means mind without the Shastra can't know the Atma. Mind with the help of Shastra can know what is Atma. These are the verses of Kenopanishad and Taittiriya Upanishad, which we have seen before. In Manasana Manute, Yenahor Manomatam, Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. Very beautiful words. Whatever the mind is experiencing is not Brahman, but the seer is Brahman. The one who is the consciousness principle behind the mind is Brahman, is Sakshi. Taittiriya Upanishad. Words cannot go there. I cannot utter anything which will describe Atma because it is attributeless. We have seen this point many times. Whatever doesn't have an attribute, mind cannot think, and your tongue cannot speak about it. Unless the mind can conceptualize the five sense objects, what it is listening, hearing, tasting, touching, then only we can talk about. But Atma is self-aware. It is Swatasiddhaha Swayam Prakashaha. The only thing I will know is this Upanishad na tatra suryo bhati. That verse will describe to me what is the nature of Atma. So unprepared, unrefined intellect or mind cannot know Atma. But how to prepare this mind? Next verse tells us how to prepare this mind for knowing Atma.
यच्चेद्वाङ्मनसि प्राज्ञः यच्चेद्वाङ्मनसि प्राज्ञः तद्यच्चेज्ञान आत्मनि तद्यच्चेज्ञान आत्मनि ज्ञानमात्मनि महति ज्ञानमात्मनि महति नियच्चेत्तद्यचेच्छान्त आत्मनि नियच्चेत्तद्यचेच्छान्त आत्मनि.
See, Shravanam tells me there is Atma. Mananam tells me how I should start looking at that Atma and dropping the notion that I am the Jiva. That doer, enjoyer, Jiva has to be dropped through Manana, through clearing all doubts. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, neti neti. You use that method. Then what happens? Then you use the words of the scriptures and say, I am the pure Atma after having dropped everything. So this is a Nididhyasana sloka. Nididhyasana means for meditation. You can use this sloka. First, what the sloka says, you drop the speech into the mind. So many jnanis, you will find that they don't talk too much. Even when you come to Vedanta, suppose you have been talking a lot before, your talking will get at least reduced by 10%, which is a lot. Because the more you hear about Atma, you are going deeper inside yourself. So first it says, drop the speech into your mind. That means let all the sense organs resolve into your mind. And then the mind into the intellect. Let the intellect start working. I am not the mind which is thinking about the world. I am not the doer. I am not the enjoyer. Once you have negated your intellect, the great Atman, the pure Atman, the peaceful Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, Chaturtham Manyante, Sa Atma, Sa Vigneya. That is what is my Vishnu Padam. That is the final step. So, in order for the Guru to explain to you this Atma, your mind must work. Shastra Jnanam is got only by the study of scriptures. In meditation, you can practice two types. One is Saguna Ishvara Dhyanam and another is Nididhyasanam. What is the difference between Nididhyasanam and Saguna Ishvara Dhyanam? In Saguna Ishvara Dhyanam, you practice before the study of Upanishads. Before you come to Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads, you do meditation on Lord with form. The Sikshavali, the Taittiriya Upanishad talks in the first chapter, and Bhriguvali in the third chapter of Taittiriya Upanishad, they give you all the definition how to do Saguna Upasana. Very simple. You meditate on the form of Shiva, form of Vishnu, form of Devi. That is what is called Saguna. Saguna means Ishvara in the form of the world. Vishwarupa Ishvara also you can meditate. That is the form of the world, of the Lord. But what is the Nididhyasnam? Nididhyasnam can be done only after study of Veda. After you study the Bhagavad Gita, sixth chapter, towards the end, it will teach you how to do this Atma Jnana, Upasana. How I can meditate on my own nature. Same thing is being taught here. That Yatho Vacho Nivartante. When I drop the Panchakoshas, I can do whatever is the leftover portion, I can take it as my Swarupa. So, Ani is a scholar who has got the full benefit of having the knowledge. A scholar, Jnani, may not know I am Atma. But the one who has digested the knowledge, who has contemplated on the knowledge, he is called as Jnana Nishtha. Vak yacheti manase, withdraw slowly from the activities of the world, learn to sit quietly for some time. Yat tat yachet jnane atmani. That knowledge about the world, also about the idam vritti. See, whenever there is in our mind, whenever we are thinking, our mind, most of the times, our memory of the world comes whenever we sit in meditation. Memory means vritti. It's a thought. This thought, they just come automatically. You don't have to do anything. Whatever is the thought which is most prominent, it will come into the conscious mind. In the unconscious mind, which is what we are in the sleep state, potential mind. That potential mind only comes into conscious mind in the waking state. From that potential mind only, you get the vasanas which are hidden in the karana shayana. From the vasanas which have to get fortified, you get the dream state and the waking state. This intellect of mind is a part of the total intellect, which is Samashti Hiranyagarbha, which I explained before. I have to cross over that Samashti Hiranyagarbha and then say there is a Atma which is controller, which is called as Brahman. When you're talking about the whole universe, it is that Atma which is the controller, which is the observer I, which is the consciousness principle. This principle cannot be affected by anything in the world. That is why the moment you say, I am the pure consciousness, all your sorrows are gone. Because you say that because that pure consciousness does not allow even a wee bit of the universe. We can experience, we all experience this in our sleep state. There is not an iota of the waking world in the pure consciousness when we are asleep. Not even a single small infinitesimal ball is a part is also not there. This Atma is uncontaminated. It is divisionless. There is no division in Atma. Division is there in the body. Bodies are different. But the content of the body, Atma, is the same. So when I look at myself as Atma and then I stop after saying I am. Just say I am and then stop. Don't say I am the male, I am a female. Don't say I am a father, mother, I am a husband, so on. This practice of claiming I am Atma is called as Nididasana. Very beautiful section of this Kathopanishad. It teaches me how I can claim this Atma as my real nature. So your Shravanam and Manam usually will start automatically when your Shravanam has gone to an optimum level. Automatically, when you're walking on the road, when you're walking alone, you will start, suddenly your thought of Vedanta will come in your mind. Many students have told me this. That is what is called as Mananam process. But you should not stop at Mananam. You should take the time to learn about how to claim Atma. It's a very big transformation. So, this is possible when your mind gets more and more purified by jnanam. The next verse is Swami Vivekananda's favorite verse.
उत्तिष्ठत जाग्रत प्राप्य वरान् बोधत उत्तिष्ठत जाग्रत प्राप्य वरान् बोधत क्षुरस्य धारा निशिता दुरत्यया क्षुरस्य धारा निशिता दुरत्यया दुर्गं पतस्तत् कवयो वदन्ति दुर्गं पतस्तत् कवयो वदन्ति.
This spiritual journey, which we all have undertaken to do, is a very narrow path, very difficult to cross. It is like walking on a razor's edge, sharp, very sharp. If I come out of that, I will fall down, deep down into samsara. But if I hold on to the Atma, I am the Atma, I am the Atma, I am the Atma. If I keep on telling myself I am the pure consciousness all the time, which is a fact, I'm not saying it. It is not something which is not the truth. It is the fact which I am only trying to know now. This verse is very similar to Mundakopanishad, which we have covered. Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamaya. Let a person examine what is happening in the world. What am I doing in this world? If I keep on acting in the world, will I ever get rid of samsara? Never. Only by knowledge of Atma, I can get rid of samsara. So entire range of Vedanta sadhanas is mentioned here. Vedanta sadhana or moksha sadhana. What are the sadhanas? There are three main sadhanas. Sadhana means disciplines. What should I do to realize my nature? First, do Karma Yoga. Bhagavad Gita, in the first section, talks about Karma Yoga. Chapter 3, 4, 5 is all on Karma Yoga. Then comes Upasana Yoga. Karma Yoga means what? Prasada Buddhi, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Whatever actions I'm doing, it's not my actions. God wants me to do these actions because He has given me this body. I never created this body. I just say, okay, the body is acting as per laws of Ishvara. That's all. Ishvara Arpada Buddhi. And then whatever results are coming, okay, fine, I get some wrong results, I get some wrong phalams to enjoy. As a bhokta, I have to enjoy whatever comes in my way. But that also I surrender. This is Ishvara's will only. Let me just carry on. That is what is called as Karma Yoga. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Prasada. Then the second stage of discipline for coming in spirituality is Upasana Yoga, the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. How should I meditate in nature? Then comes Jnana Yoga. In the meditation, the 10th chapter and the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita are very important chapters for meditation. Vishwarupa Ishvara, Vibhuti Yoga, all this 10th and the 11th chapter, very useful. Then comes Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is the 13th, 14th, and 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And Upanishads. See, all this Upanishad study. Whenever in the Upanishads you come to realize the nature of Atma, like the seventh mantra of Mandukya Upanishad, like the next mantra of Kathopanishad, the 15th mantra, like Pratibodha Viditam Matam of Keno Upanishad, whenever such mantras they come, these are all mantras of Jnana Yoga. Jnanam means Atma Jnanam. Atma Jnanam involves Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyas. This is how we have to go step by step. We have to identify our problems in life when we do Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. Then I have to find out what is my nature, which is without these problems. The fifth chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Nadate kasyachit papam nachaiva sukrutam vibhuhu ajnanenavritam jnanam tena mukhyanti jantavaha. This Atma is covered by ignorance, Mula Vidya. Mula Vidya is nothing but our state in our sleep state. In sleep state, I am full of ignorance. Ignorance about myself and ignorance about my Moolam. Moolam means what is my root? My root is this earth. So from that sleep state of mind where I am drowned in samsara, in the waking state or the dream state, or in ignorance in the sleep state, Tishtatha, wake up, wake up. Upanishad says, come on, get up, get up. But wake up to what? Wake up to the knowledge. Prapya varani bodhita. Jagrata means wake up. Wake up to this knowledge of pure Atma. Nibodhataha. Nibodhataha means go to a guru. Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru, you go to him and then you understand. The Guru will teach you, as in the first chapter, second session, we have seen this Kathopanishad mantra, which says that we can drop our sorrow only by the knowledge of this. Every emperor, King Janaka, he was a jnani. He also realized the same truth as what we are trying to understand today. Aham Brahma Asmi. I am the pure consciousness. This Jnana Marga is very, very sharp. Shurasya Dhara Nishita Doratya. Very, very difficult to trend. How difficult is it? It's like walking over a razor's edge. But this jnanam cannot be avoided because jnanat eva tu kaivalya. Anya pantaya naya vidyate. There is no other path. For dropping my doership and enjoyership, and there is no other way but to understand the nature of Atma, which is always pure. If it doesn't depend on anything else in the world, so I have to prepare my mind through sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, and then jnana yoga becomes easy to understand. What is this jnana yoga? Not the last verse, the 15th verse, which is a very important verse of Kathopanishad, explains to me what is the nature of this Atma. Can I know this Atma through my sense organs? Is the first question every seeker will be thinking. I have now come to study Upanishads. I am going to see God, God with form. I will meditate. That is the wrong notion of every seeker who comes to Veda. Even now, after 20, 25 years of studying Upanishads, studying Mandukya, studying Kathopanishad, many people, they don't know how to realize this art. That is why the study of Bhashyam becomes extremely important. Even if you do one Bhashyam, that is enough. You're doing Mandukya Upanishad Bhashyam, very good. One Bhashyam is enough. You study that properly, and you will know that, oh, this is the Atma which Upanishad wants me to realize. Next week, we will study this verse. It's very important verse. Try and see if you can learn it by heart, because this is the most important verse in Kathopanishad. Ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, avyayim, rasam nityam, agandavat chaye. Okay, so try and this is the first line of this verse is the most important. It tells me that this pure Atma cannot be known by the sense. It is not an object of the eyes, the ears, the skin, the tongue, the taste, whatever it is, not an object. Cannot be, it is not an object for the sense organ. But how do I know this? Through this Upanishad, you come to know there is an Atma which is beyond the sense organ. We'll take up this study next week, next Saturday, and we will stop here now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachare Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, very good question from Manikandan. Manikandan is asking, the intellect is very, very important in us. Should we pray to Ishvara to give us a good intellect? Yes. All the seekers, they pray to the pray to the Ishvara, give me a good intellect. That's one of the basic conditions of knowing Atma. Is every seeker in the Shanti mantra, most of the Shanti mantras are asking for good health, good mind, good intellect, good sense organs, so that we can come to the art. Now, The next question you are asking is Bhakti Yoga an essential requirement to support moksha? Yes, it is a requirement to support. The underlining word is support. Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, they are all supporting sadhanas. They are not the primary sadhana. The primary sadhana for moksha is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyas. Unless you come to Jnana Yoga, like the 13, 14, 15 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, or you study the Upanishadic verses like how we are studying the seventh mantra of Mandukya Upanishad, the 15th mantra of the third section of the first chapter of Kathopanishad. These mantras have the power to light up your intellect and get rid of the darkness of Mula Avidya, which you have been living with for many, many janmas. This is said by the Upanishads. Upanishad tells me I have rebirth. This is not my first body. I've taken several bodies. In several bodies, I have learned so many things. I have come to this study today because of my Purva Karma Vasana. That is why I'm enjoying this Kathopanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. I want to learn. I want to learn every word Shankaracharya has commented on these Upanishads. It is a vasana. It is a something is a tendency which is there in the deep within my mind. Okay, so it is very, very important that we study for the intellect, proper intellect, and through this intellectual study only, we come to realize what is the power behind this intellect. The power behind the intellect is the same power which is behind the Surya Bhagavan. Same power. Surya is, we see the sun disk, it is shining, it is bright. But there is a power behind that Surya, which we have learnt in Taittiriya Upanishad, where we said there is a oneness between the Devata which controls the Surya and the Devata behind my mind and intellect. That is the Gayatri Japam which we do, where we say that Devata which controls the Surya is this Hiranyagarbha principle. Same Atma, same Devata is behind my mind also. If I can sharpen my mind through the Gayatri mantra, it is a very powerful instrument to see. You are asking how to pray to this. The best way to pray for intellect is Gayatri mantra. Chanting Gayatri mantra daily, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, doesn't matter. Just chant. Or the Medha Sutram. Very good for developing memory. So, Manikandan, am I clear? Shanmugam will unmute you and everybody so that you can unmute yourself and then you can ask the question.
Thank you, Segaji. It's very clear. Now, actually,
Okay.
my struggle point is, when we are struggling with the mind, how to
Yeah.
control. Now it's very clear that the control of the mind is intellect. Earlier, my worry was I was focusing only on the mind, not on the intellect. Now it's very
Correct.
clear the intellect is the controller, and to get the good intellect, very clear now is we need to pray to the Iswara to give us the good intellect, so that everything in then we can focus on our Atma knowledge.
Correct.
Otherwise, the
But
external world
yes,
is keep on disturbing the mind,
yes,
and not able to focus on the consciousness.
correct. You're right. Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're on the right path of thinking. So that's the correct way to do it. That's the correct way to understand what is this is beyond the intellect, how to grow the intellect. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Next question is Shama is saying Prakriti is the matter principle. Where does energy feature? Energy is also part of Prakriti. Science calls it energy. Vedanta calls it, or Sankhya philosophy calls it Prakriti. So that is the first answer to your question. Energy is the same as matter or Prakriti. Pranamaya, prana, Shakti, aspect of Maya or Atman. Pranamaya is a Shakti of Maya only, but Maya is resting on Atman. So indirectly, you can say Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanmaya, all the Panchakoshas are directly controlled by the prana, but that pranamaya is controlled by Maya Shakti. Whenever you say Maya Shakti, you're coming out of that prana Shakti, individual prana Shakti, you're talking about the total Maya, total prana Shakti in this universe. Maya means total prana Shakti, total subtle mind. And then you have to go to Karana Shariram, you go to Karana Prapancha. So the moment you have crossed your physical body, then automatically you're getting into the invisible portion of the universe, which is, you can call it Maya, you can call it energy. And then there are so many layers in this, which Vedanta which introduces one by. So that is the second question. The third question is Pranamaya aspect, the feature of matter and energy or Atman and consciousness. It is all Pranamaya is basically matter. You see, because prana is nothing but Vayu Tattva. Vayu Tattvam is one of the Panchabhutas. That's all. So whenever you understand prana, it means Vayu Tattvam in the totality. That Vayu Tattvam controls all the maintenance of the body. How does my body remain at that particular temperature all throughout the life? It is because of the Shakti of prana. The body temperature is maintained evenly at the same level throughout our life. It goes up and down, and then we take some medicine. So, right. Prana controls, it controls apana, dhyana, digestive, circulation. Everything is controlled by one prana shakti. It divides itself into 5 portions once it reaches the body. In different parts of the body, that particular prana shakti becomes more evident. Apana is where you excrete the waste out of the body. In the chest area is the main prana. This prana shakti is what is called as the kundalini shakti in other philosophies. Yoga. Yeah, yoga philosophy.
So it is not really how in science which we have is that the creation of the universe is from Einstein's equation E is equal to mc square, where energy and m is matter times time and whatever, it's a very complex equation. So it's unlike that. So I used to always imagine that there is the Atman is the energy, or Shiva.
No. Atman is not the energy. Atman is equal to mc squared is in the field of matter only.
Only. Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, there was a confusion in my mind. So thank you for that. And then the second part of my main questions is, Manomaya, you said, is the emotional aspect. So what I wanted to ask was this emotional aspect, which means emotional weakness, rise beyond emotions. So you've said, be alert, be aware, and the emotions will die away. What I'm asking is, you don't think so there is any need to analyze, understand the mechanics or receive psychotherapy if this emotional problem is a persistent recurrent problem? To my mind, it's akin to, for example, somebody has diabetes, they take diabetes tablets. Somebody has blood pressure, they take blood pressure tablets. So similarly, if a person is not just an situational emotional issue, sukha dukkha, which is part of normal life, it's forever changing. But it's somebody who's got deep, complex emotional problems. Would the Vedanta alone be sufficient, or should the person take some help from psychotherapists or whatever?
Yeah. Okay. Very, very beautiful question. See, the field of mind management.
Mhm.
The first answer to your question is definitely psychotherapy will help. Seeing
Okay.
a psychotherapist, understanding a psychiatrist, the way he looks at the mind. You see, the problems in the mind. There are two types of problems which are seen in the mind. One, it could be due to structural problems in the brain,
Mhm.
which a psychiatrist we can identify, and he can say, yes, there is some issue. I can give you these tablets, and then it will work, and the tablets do work,
Mhm.
but they are not the ultimate solution at all.
Correct. Mhm.
They are not ultimate. This is the field of psychology and psychotherapy has not been so developed today to control all the mind's problems. It is not.
Yeah.
You find so many patients who are still struggling with their mind. So there is one part of their mind's problems which can be diagnosed by the psychiatrist, psychotherapist, psychoanalysis. They
Yeah.
can analyze one portion of it. There
Yeah.
is another portion which Vedanta identifies.
Yeah.
That is a second part, but a person should not come to Vedanta if he is not God. He will not, if he is not able to control his thoughts, and he's not.
Perceptual errors, for
Yeah,
example, a lot of
correct.
for which
Yeah.
CBT is
Perceptual
given,
errors.
because
Correct.
perceptual error through whatever the upbringing or whatever this thing is. So it almost is inherent that they first sort that out, and then of
Correct.
course the person is completely got rid of, cured of that, and that should be fairly simple. And I kind of think of Ramakrishna's a lot of devotees. There were some people who actually came and begged to him and said they want to know, they give me moksha or give me this. And he actually, because he could read people's mind. So he very flatly actually say, no, not for you, not this time. And like next life or come another time. So he did that to several people. So which means there is an obstacle. And because quite often there is this huge issue where people go this spiritual bypassing without having got to the preliminary clearing up of the emotional obstacles. So I just wanted a clarification on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're right. I mean, see what Ramakrishna did, what he did was exactly what any jnani will do. For example, many
Mm-hmm.
people with emotional problems, if you come to a jnani, he will say, please sort out your emotional problems before you come to Veda.
Okay, that's very
Swami
nice.
Chinmayananda used to do that very, very often. Suppose
Okay.
somebody started crying in the class,
Uh-huh.
when he was teaching, he would say, "Go out, finish, go, clear your mind, clear your emotions, come back to the class."
Correct, correct.
So with a confused mind, which is totally emotionally very, very affected, you will not be able to understand Vedanta at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And,
it's
and, and, and even the Vairagya can be very confused, which sometimes it is described as Shamshan Vairagya, that
yes,
because you've been affected so deeply, so you think, no, this world is useless, everything is useless, I'm going to God,
yeah.
and I'm
No,
taking
that is
Vairagya.
correct. That's again. These are all the mind's
Obs-
silly thinkings, of
yeah,
trying to say, yes, I will get moksha by
escaping.
just withdrawing escapists.
Mm,
So,
mm,
Vedanta is a sincere seeker of freedom from the mind.
correct.
The moment you come to Vedanta and say, I want to study Vedanta, I want to study the scriptures
Uh-huh.
so that I can understand how to how to transcend the mind. See,
Correct.
transcending the mind is possible through Atma Jnana.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Every jnani is successful in doing this.
Correct.
And the Vedanta will give you that benefit. It is the
Mhm,
moment you study Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita as a sincere seeker, especially when you study the Bhashyams.
mhm,
The Bhashyams are they are the perfect medicine for transcending the mind. There
mhm,
is something which is beyond the mind, which mind cannot understand. That only you will know when you come to Vedanta. And Vedanta does this job very beautifully, very,
mhm,
very well. Like today's example, we saw the mind is inferior compared to the intellect. Now,
mhm,
intellect is inferior when it compared to Atma, the
mhm,
witness.
mhm,
So whenever I say I am experiencing my emotions, that I which is experiencing the emotions is Atma.
mhm, mhm,
Anytime you say, oh, I'm aware of my emotions, I am suddenly, in the, I will tell this comes in chapter 4 of Mandukya Upanishad, where Shankaracharya says that this is an ave obsession, that my mind suddenly becomes obsessed with some aspect in the world.
mhm,
This
mhm.
avesha, this obsession is samsara.
Interesting.
Very beautifully. I mean, Shankaracharya is a teacher, greatest teacher of Vedanta. See how beautiful he says. It's an avesha. Suppose your mind suddenly gets caught in some emotional issue about your son, about your daughter-in-law, about your mother-in-law, about your husband, some issue comes up. It is avesha of the mind. It is
Yeah.
an obsession of the mind. It's very difficult to pull it out.
Mhm,
And this avesha is because of the fundamental error. What is the fundamental error? He says, Shankaracharya, the fundamental error is I am a doer. I am karta. I am the
yeah.
cause.
Yeah.
And bhokta is the effect.
Mhm,
Bhokta means I am the enjoyer. Whatever I am doing, I am enjoying. I am doing this, I am enjoying. I am doing this, I am enjoying. This karta bhokta, cause effect, orientation of the mind, of the intellect, right from our birth till date. That is why you keep on penetrating of the world and say, oh, this is why my sister is doing so well in America, but I'm not doing so well. So all that is only an avesha of the mind.
correct.
Understand that this is an obsession of the mind and drop.
Yeah. It's to see the separation, no?
See the separation. That's all.
Mm, mm,
I
mm.
am the Atma. I am the witness of that avesha.
Yeah.
I am not the karta. The Shankaracharya in the fourth chapter of Mandukya Upanishad gives this medicine. He says the right medicine for dropping this avesha of karta and bhokta, which is samsara. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. I do this, I enjoy in the world. I worked very well. I became a doctor. I earned £1 million and it's there in my bank account. I'm very happy. Cause
Mm,
and effect. To a certain extent, it is true. But what Shankaracharya says is it is a seeming cause and effect. But the real thing is it is an avesha of the mind.
yeah.
I am the pure consciousness. I am a karanam. There is no karanam in Atma. I am the pure consciousness, which is nityaha, which is
Mhm,
changeless. That is what is being described in the seventh mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. That is going to be described in the next week when we do the 15th mantra of the third section, Ashaktam, Sparsham, Arupam, it is describing the pure Atma, which is not the mind, it is not the Karta Bhokta intellect. The Buddhi in us is the Karta Bhokta. Okay, you have asked very deep questions today, Shama.
So the distinction alone is such a big help, and about this karta doer bit of it, it is incredible, actually, when you think about it. It is a sheer the Maya principle of the whole of the Prakriti, which is using you, each one of us, as an instrument to function as this, that, whatever, So it's actually, how can you be the doer, There is a bigger power within you, which is actually using you for whatever purpose. But I, in my own ego self, I think, oh, I have helped so and so, I have helped this one. So how wrong the illusion can be.
Yes, it's an illusion. It's an ego, it's an illusion. And that is why they say that you crossing this Maya is very, very difficult.
Is it that the Shurasya Dhara? Is it that one?
That's right. Shurasya Dhara is crossing the Maya.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Good. All right, very beautiful question. Good. Then the next, a lot of people are putting their hands. Nandu, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Very nice session and very enlightening. In today's session, we have seen the slide on 163. It was on left hand side. It was showing like Paramatman, and the right hand side the all 5 things. I believe this is the exact thing teaching from the Acharyas, Drukka Dishya Vivek, where the Drukka, which is like Paramatman, and all this right hand side is like a Drushya. And the next, I think, only we are going to learn about the Paranchikani Trunam Swayambhu. Look, Paramatma has made that all these indriyas to be like as a Bahirmukh. But as we like a sadhaka, we have to turn that and towards to the Drukka.
That's right.
And and the exactly, I believe the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter 1st sloka, which is about if this slide we can make maybe as a like vertical, and on the top it is like Urdhva Moolam Adha Shaka.
Yes.
So the Paramatman, which is the Urdhva Moolam, and which is all the branches we need to cut and to reach up to the that Atman level. I believe that's the understanding, correct understanding.
Correct. Yes, very good. You're going through the length and breadth of your understanding and of your teachings which you have had in past to understand. Very nice. Good. Nandu, you are one of the brilliant students of this group.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Drigdishya Viveka is very correct. You're right. That means I am the seer, everything else is seen. Whatever is experienced is mithya, the seer alone is satyam. That is the Drik. Okay, good. Thank you, Nandu. Is there anybody else who has any other questions?
Harivam Shekharji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is wonderful reflections about the self. I think the very connection between the pranamaya and the manomaya, it seems like these are all matter alone. But when we see that one, prana is required even for the mind to work, isn't it?
Absolutely
and also
right. Without prana, there is no mind.
Right. So there is an interdependency between these koshas, the pranamaya kosha and manomaya kosha and the vijnanamaya kosha, the buddhi. For them to work as in the Chandogyopanishad, the stories and all, it establishes the importance of prana. But at the same time, prana seems to be inferior to the other 2 koshas in the process of the self-realization. But it seems to be like when we need to work as this incidence in this body, mind, intellect complex, it seems to be prana is the essential, as we were talking about when we are addressing through the medical science are we addressing the pranamaya kosha more by suggesting the medicines and all? They will be working in the pranamaya kosha, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
Or
I mean, it's the medical field consists of two aspects. One is the mind aspect, another is the body aspect. What Shama was talking about, she is a medical doctor and she is a psychotherapist and so on. Now she is talking about the mind aspect, the problems connected to the mind. Now the medical doctors who you see about your different portions of your body, you go to a different specialist and then you go and get yourself treated. So prana is, like we have learned in Tattva, what is the main, what is the function of prana? It is the maintainer of the body. Without the maintenance of the body, there is no concept of mind at all. So in Keno Upanishad, the story you are referring to, or in Chandogya Upanishad, the story you are referring to is the same. Who is this? Who is the superior most of all the sense organs in the body mind complex? So one by one, everybody thought that eyes thought if I go away for 1 year, then the whole body will collapse. Nothing happened when the eyes go away, or even when the mind goes away, nothing happens to the body still survives. So prana, when it starts to say, I am going to leave, then the whole body collapses. So Kenopanishad story clearly says prana is the most important function in the entire body mind complex. So from that aspect, prana is correct. What you're saying is, but one thing you must remember, all these panchakoshas, they get the they get the energy to
Sentiency.
function, sentiency only from consciousness.
Yes,
Atma
sir.
is the one which controls not only this body, indirectly it controls this body and the whole universe. Atma is the central center of the whole cosmos. And that is what Upanishad wants you to realize. It wants you to drop all this panchako in whichever way you can drop your panchakoshas, go ahead. You can see Brahma Sutra analyzes this mantra today, what we have studied, that mind is superior to sense object. This mantra is studied in Brahma Sutra. It has got different aspects. Like the question you are asking, that question is analyzed very beautifully in the Brahma Sutra. But what you should focus is, ultimately I have to drop all these koshas. Forget about whether this is superior or that is superior, whether I should see this doctor, that, or all that is vyavaharika satya. I have to go and look for what is beyond this vyavahara, is known only from the scriptures, which is Atma Jnana. You
Right, sir.
turn attention
That is
to
very
Atma.
clear.
Yes.
Yeah, that part is very clear. My question goes a little further than that. The very question is, as the at the end of this body, or at the transition from this body, at the time of death, all this jiva, along with the mind and pranas and everything, have been anyway taken away to have a different body. That is what the Shastra has been indicating. The jiva will be transitioning to different lokas and coming back based on the papa punyas and all the karma phala. But the very question here is that, as the theme of the Kathopanishad also, the very essence that what the Upanishad is talking about, or Nachiketa's question, is not exactly that what is after the death is this jiva's travel, but the one that is non-moving self, the consciousness, the transition of that consciousness of this jiva from this intellectual attachment. That means when we are saying that, yes, I understood, isn't it I am saying it from my intellectual point? the very transition, the shift in the consciousness, as we are talking in the Mandukya Upanishad also, the very consciousness which is present in all the three avasthas and beyond that one, the actual journey is in that. Is that the correct indication that the Upanishads are indicating? And
Okay.
to have that conscious shift, I need to really have the capacity through all these koshas to turn around towards that self. Is that the precondition that the Upanishad has been indicating to us?
Yeah, you're right. You see, at the initial stage, what you're saying is correct. At the initial stage, when you're identified with this body as a real, as a real entity, what you're saying is correct. That means I am identifying, I have a jiva bhava in me. I am thinking I am a jiva in this body. The body is mind, the mind has got intellect. This is all jiva bhava. So when you are with the jiva bhava, then the jiva has to realize, the intellect has to realize, I am not the intellect which is the karta bhokta. I am not the intellect which is the controller of the mind. This is when you are looking at from the jiva bhava, the deha abhimana level. This is taught at a junior level. The moment you come to Mandukya, the 7th mantra, or you come to the next mantra, the 15th mantra, there is a huge leap in the teaching. The Jiva Bhava is dropped, and then Brahma Bhava is taken as your nature. Huge drop is there. That means, if you understand Mandukya very well, your cause effect relationship orientation must drop to reach the level of the 7th mantra or the 15th mantra, which we're going to see next week. Now, this is, you are not saying I am a jiva anymore. You are saying I am always Brahman. The jnani, who is a jnani? Jnani doesn't say that I was a jiva before. He never says I was a jiva before, I am a jnani now. He says after the jnanam, he says I was Brahman before, I am Brahman. Brahman means what? It is consciousness. I was awareness before, I am awareness now, I will be awareness even after the death of the body. It is incidental. Body is in time. Body comes in time, body goes off in time. Time is a part of Maya. Time is a part of Prakriti. It is a part of this cosmos. All this is Prakriti. But what is the substratum of this Prakriti is this consciousness. So your question, does the intellect realize this? Yes. It at the junior level, the intellect realizes I am not the intellect. I am not the mind or the doer, actor, enjoyer in this body. Once the intellect has understood this the intellect can only understand this when the 7th mantra is clear, Mandukya. When I know I am pure Shuddha Chaitanya, then what happens? Automatically, when you become Shuddha Chaitanya, you become that consciousness, because knowledge itself gives you the claiming ability to be that consciousness. Pure knowledge, but it must be a it should be samyak jnanam. Samyak jnanam means this knowledge should be very, very clear in your intellect. It should be doubtless knowledge. Okay, I'm trying to explain to you, but as you study this Upanishad and Mandukya, this deeper aspect of your question will get answered.
Yeah, Harivam sir, that is wonderful. That the way that you told that one, that the direction of the intellect needed to be towards its enlivener. And the question is the transition, as we say, the Brahma Bhava is no more intellect. Actually, the intellect
transition
is
that
not.
there is no transition. You realize I was, I am, I will be. That's it. There is no transition. There is no corridor between Jiva Bhava and Brahma Bhava. Brahma Bhava is superior. It swallows up the Jiva Bhava once and for all.
Wonderful. This is the Vastu Siddhi rather than Purusha Prayatna.
Correct.
Hari.
See, you are correct. Purusha Prayatna is there up to a certain extent, but this is ultimately it is Vastu Siddhi. Vastu means it is the Atma which reveals to you its nature. That's it. Good. Thank you. Very deep analysis. Shama has got one more question. Anybody else has a question? Okay. If there are no other questions, Shama, I think I've answered most of your questions before.
Yes, yes, we finished.
Okay, we
My-
finished.
Yeah.
All right. If there are no questions, then we will stop here, and then we'll take up Kathopanishad next week. This particular mantra, Ashabdam Asparsham, is a very beautiful mantra. It is very good for meditation to reach your pure consciousness. What you have to do is, I am not this which the sense organs bring to me in my mind. I am something other than these five sense objects. The five sense objects are the world. And beyond this world is Atma. That is why this mantra is extremely important. Shankaracharya quotes that so many times in his commentaries. Katho is known for this particular mantra. This Kathopanishad, every Upanishad is got 3-4 mantras which Shankaracharya uses in his commentaries. So tomorrow there is no Mandukya session. We'll continue the Mandukya session next Sunday. For those who are attending Mandukya from this batch. Okay, thank you and wish you all a good day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste, Bhagavan. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, Shakaji.
Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
very
Hari.
good. Yeah, Hari Om. Bharat, how are you?
I'm doing very well. A very, very good lecture. I think
Yeah.
the advice given to Shama Ben and to everyone, Vedanta is not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's highly, highly subtle, and I think your answer was amazing. Really good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bharat. Okay.